How to deal with obnoxious people. How to deal with obnoxious people. Hello, y'all. I'm DIANNA BRIANNE. Whether it's an obnoxious husband, an obnoxious wife, an obnoxious family member, an obnoxious relative, an obnoxious friend, an obnoxious coworker, or an obnoxious anyone, how do you deal with obnoxious people? Hello, y'all. I'm DIANNA BRIANNE. Well, I got to thinking about obnoxious people. You know, the world is filled with obnoxious people, and it's easy to get pulled into their negativity if we let ourselves. So for myself, I identify obnoxious people simply through their obnoxious comments and behaviors. I do my very best at avoiding obnoxious people. I think that's my first line of defense with an obnoxious person. I don't invite them into my life. But what happens if I work with an obnoxious person, or I have an obnoxious family member that is included in all the Christmas dinners or holiday gatherings, or, you know, the weddings or whatever? For me, there again, how I deal with obnoxious people is I simply do my best at avoiding them. Now, I try to always remain polite and nice and respectful of everyone, including an obnoxious person. And yet I realize that obnoxious people have developed a pattern of obnoxiousness through the words they say and through the unkind things that they can say, whether it's directed at me or directed at other people. And so I simply do my very, very best at avoiding them, at not engaging in any kind of conversation with them. And for obnoxious people at work, I've met a few obnoxious people, people who are arrogant, a bit on the bullying side. And so for me, there again, I stay away from them. And yet, if they come into my space and constantly bother me, I simply, for me personally, I do address the issue. I simply will say, you know what, I think you're being rude. And I've told people that before. Now, I'm not suggesting anything to anyone. We all have to handle things differently. I just share with you how I do things. And so for me, when I'm dealing with an obnoxious person and they're not letting up and I'm doing my best at avoiding them, I do address the issue and I do let them know that I find them obnoxious and their comments obnoxious. I've even said to a boss one time, I find that your comments are offensive and obnoxious. And of course, I quit the job rather than be fired. So when you deal with a boss, it's a little bit different situation than dealing with, other kinds of people. But the world is filled with obnoxious people. It's just part of how life is. And so we have to decide, can we avoid them or do we need to address the issue? And it just depends on the situation. I think the best line of strategy is to avoid them, to avoid interacting with them to the best of our abilities, and yet to stay polite and respectful, if at all possible. And yet, in those isolated circumstances, sometimes we have to address their obnoxiousness. And we have to remember that they're not going to like that. And often it can have a certain degree of fallout when we address it, because sometimes people are so used to being obnoxious that they don't even know that they're obnoxious anymore, or they know that they are, but they've accepted that everyone has accepted it. So now when we're questioning their obnoxiousness, that can, make them not like us very much. So like I said, I don't give suggestions, I don't give advice, and yet I tell you how I live my life. And so I do try to avoid obnoxious people, but there have been times that I've had to address the issue directly. And sometimes that directly is going to a boss and saying, hey, we have a coworker here that I find to be obnoxious. And usually the boss will handle it quite well. So there are different strategies. Everyone has their own way, but that is my way. From my house to yours, may God bless you. I hope you like, share, subscribe to both of my channels, my Dianna Brianne Fairchild channel and my Grandma's Porch with Dianna Brianne Fairchild. Hope to talk to y'all soon again. Bye-bye. Porch, a place to relax and a place to enjoy. Grandma's Porch.